Hello everyone. Today we are going to deal with the JavaScript practice as I mentioned earlier, and also I will assign you some sort of a project, we can say. Now I will start the tutorial by just creating a new HTML page. Then I set up some CSS content here, so I will type that. So you can basically type the exact same thing. For this one, the first one, I will show you two practices today. For the first exercise, you are going to type the basically exact same thing. So you don't need to do something else. And this is not about grade. This is basically, I am trying to see if you are watching the online practices. And therefore, the first one is that way. The second one, though, it is your assignment. I will just show you a little, then you need to complete the rest of the project. So let's begin with the first one. This is a basic JavaScript tutorial. So now we have the HTML head and all the tags here. So I will start building the page. First of all, the title I will change to Grade Calculator for COSC 3351. So as you see, we are going to, I saved it as index.html here, so we are going to build a grade calculator for our course. So first of all, the scripts and JavaScript, or the CSS file, I'm going to link these. I know which files or the names of the files that I'm going to create later. So now I think I can add those, although they are not there yet. So for the script, language JavaScript, and type text JavaScript, and source, I will create a script.js file just next to this index.html. And we can also, now at this point we can close the tag. Okay, this is the script tag that I have. Now, another thing is CSS. So we use the link tag and rel style sheet. Okay, type text CSS and reference. Oh, I cannot browse because I don't have the file as well, so I can just give a name now like style.css. I'm going to create this later. So okay, basically this is done. So now, as the header is done, we can get into the body. As I said, I predefined my CSS. Actually, I tried a few things. It's a basic CSS file, just maybe a few tags covered, so I didn't deal with the CSS file in detail because this is basically the JavaScript practice, so I want to focus on basics of JavaScript. So I created a division here with the class name content. So okay, I can close the tag now because later on we forget these. Okay, so with the design view, as you see, the division is available here. So actually I can make it some sort of full screen view. Okay, now also after this division I'm going to put a heading. The heading is H1, the largest one. It is called Grade Calculator for COSC 3351, then closing the tag. Okay, this is the heading. Now I'm going to create a paragraph. I think I don't need an ID or class for this paragraph because it's basically pure text. I don't wish to do something extra here. With this simple web page, we are creating. So with this simple web page, we will be able to assess the grade you are going to get. Okay, so well, of course, let's add a link. For actual grades, you need to, you need to check. Now here, I want to put a link, target blank, in the new tab, and a reference to Blackboard. VV9, not 0, VV9.temecc.edu. Okay. Now here, Blackboard, we can say, and close the A tag, and dot, and close the paragraph. So what we have now, okay, with this simple web page we'll be able to adjust the grade you are going to get. Okay, now the paragraph is done. So next step, I want to create a secondary heading. So H2, and that is, please provide grade info. Actually, I can make the first letters capitalized. Provide grade information. So yes, this is done. Now at this point, let's see, yeah, as you see the sizes are different. Now at this point I'm going to create a table. Now the thing is, I'm going to throw some text fields, the HTML text fields, and a button. But the thing is, in order to organize the page better, I would like to use a table to have, two columns, one for the actual label, like assignment 1, assignment 2, and so on. We will just see the labels, and on the second column we will see the text box, so you can put some information there. So in order to create a table, we use the table tag. Width will be 100%, and border is 0. See, as this is not a CSS practice, I'm doing it the bad way, right? I'm just adding the width and border information within HTML. This is something you can do if you are not building something large. So as this will be just a single page, and to practice JavaScript, I just went ahead and did that. Although you might prefer using this table information and the table style in your CSS file. So we are creating a row here, and now within the row we will have some cells basically, and now for the width, I can give width and height to these here if I'm going to deal with the inline anyways. So assignment 1, and close the cell. The second cell should contain, which is the larger one, 86% basically. These are the numbers that I'm just making up. So within this cell we should have an input, which is the text box. So there's an input tag, input name. Name is like an ID or class, so we will be using this name property through JavaScript. And type is, so you have options like button, checkbox, color, date, date and time, and so on. I'm going to use text. Yes. Alright, so let's see how it looks like. Okay, division is messed up over there. The reason is, I don't see the point. Maybe I didn't close the, I didn't close the table tag yet, so let me close the table tag. So sometimes we may forget these, so it's better once you open a tag, it's good to close it. It's like, curly braces in, C++ and so on. So okay. Now, although I set table to 100%, which made it huge, I'm just focusing on the left hand side. As you see, the 14% of the area is this one and the 86%. Now I'm wondering, if I make this smaller, what will happen? And obviously it will change, as you see. So I'm not caring about the design again, as I said. And I will go ahead and add more rows for us. So I think I can copy and paste the things. Okay. master. Okay, I don't know how many I created. Assignment 1, let's say assignment 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then we have project, which we'll talk about after the midterm. We need to talk about this. Either you will do a group project or just an individual. I advise you to go with the group option. Midterm, and we have final. Okay, this is needless. Yeah. Well, we can add another row and put the button inside. So that's the case, but we don't need this second one. Okay, for this one, I don't think I need to give the width property because it's basically the entire thing. So, okay, here, now we have inputs again. Input this time, name can be button submit, for example, something like that. Then type is, there is a button type and there is a submit type, so I'm going to choose submit type. Submit type is good to pass the entire form in many cases, but I'm not going to use the form now. So now I'm going to use the onClick property. OnClick will call a function called calculateGrade with now JavaScript file, which we did not create yet. So okay, now this is the last row, and all the names of these assignments and those are the same. If you realize it's grade, 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 that's completely fine. Now it's like the class property. So once I use the JavaScript to fetch the grade information, I'm going to call all the grades once I say get the elements which are named as grades. So basically that will be the advantage for us. So let's see. Yeah, it looks okay. So now actually, we can, after this table, now the table is closed, obviously, here. Okay, now let me arrange it a little. So the table ends here. And now, after the table, I'm going to create a paragraph with the ID current grade. And I say, well, grade. Grade, and close the paragraph, and we might have another paragraph with the ID letter grade and call it letter grade. Okay, close the paragraph, and we close division, bodies, close HTML is closed. Okay, this should be our page. Now let me see this in Safari. Okay, it looks alright, not so nice, of course there is no styling yet, but it is useful at least for our purposes. Now I can add some numbers here, then click check. That's what I need basically. So this is done. Now we need to develop some style for this. I actually, again, as I said, I have some set of predefined values that I used building this. So I will just go ahead and type those so you can watch me doing that. Now I'm creating a new CSS file. Now for this I used the body tag first, body, and let's put the information fonts. For fonts I used 100% divided by 1.4, and I used the Verdana, Arial and Helvetica and Sans Serif. Okay, I use this. Then for the background color I used basically white, so I did this, FFF. Now margin 0, padding 0, and color, which which is a text color basically. It is 000, which is black. Okay, body is this. Now for all the headings I use the style. So I said H1, H2. Actually I'm using two headings, right? H1 and H2. So I can say H1 and H2. And also for the same style for the paragraphs, P, I can say margin top 0 and padding right is 1% or something. Padding, yeah, I didn't set this up as you realized. Padding left 1%, let's say. Okay, then we have link. So for the link, yeah, I have a weird color that I defined. Color is, I think I cannot pick it from here. Color is, oops. Okay, if I use the color property this way, let me clean this up. Okay, color is, okay, this is interesting. 42413C. Okay. 42413C. Okay. Color is done. And text decoration, I decide to use underline, but no need. Let's say text decoration none. In this case. Okay. This is done. Then once the link is visited, so we can say A visited. I said color is 6E6C64 and text decoration none again. And we have the class content, as you see, the divisions class content. So for content, I define something. I said background color white, but I don't think we need that. We don't need that because we already have the body's background color white and we are not changing the background color anyways. So I have padding though, something like 1% again and 0. So now I can save this as style.css, just the same place with my index.html. So once I apply this information, let's see how it will look like. Yeah, it looks slightly better. At least the text is larger now and we have a better styling for this. It's just basically I just made a pure white background and just changed the style a bit for the headings and paragraph so that we have some sort of padding and margins and stuff. So now for the JavaScript side. We implemented the HTML side and we said once we click on the button, it should call calculate grade. So for this, I'm going to create a new JavaScript file. Now it is here. So basically, let's delete this. Now, the first function that we are going to deal with is the calculate grade, obviously. Function calculate grade. Okay. Braces, close braces. Okay. Now, first of all, I want to call all the grades that we have here in the, the text boxes. So how can I do that? I need to probably hold the values, and therefore I need a variable called grades. Now I'm going to assign some weight to the grades here, because now the assignment 1's weight is not equal to the assignment 6 or the midterms grade. So I will say grades weight. Now this is an array of the numbers, so 4, 5 times 4 basically, then 5 and 25, 20 and 20. So basically this means all the assignments till assignment 5 will be 4%, assignment 6 will be 5%, and then project will be 25%, midterm is 20, final is 20. Is that it? Yes, that's correct. So, okay, the weights are here. Now, I need some buffer for calculating the total percentage and the total grades. So, I am creating a variable for total percent, which is initially 0, and also another one, which is total grades, initially 0. Alright, now the next step, I'm going to call the items here that have the name grade. So in order to do this, and I need to, assign this or assign these into something, which is basically the variable that I just created, grades. So I can say grades equal to. Now we need to fetch this from the document. So document dot. Now get element by ID, class name, and so on. But there is another option here. Get elements by name. So as we give the name property, we can say this, and basically I can call grade. So okay, document.get elements by name grade. That means all of these will be fetched once I click this button. So after this, we need to have probably a for loop. Let me just save this first, script.js. It's just there. So in a for loop, I can say for variable I equals to 0. This is basically like saying int I equals 0. So e smaller less than grades length. So we have the length function to determine the length of an array. So I don't need to know the length, I plus plus. So at this point, okay, braces, close braces, okay, there's no mistake here. So if grades dot item I, which is like, grades have items, like 9 items for example, 9 grades. So which item that I'm fetching? Item I dot value. So I'm going to check the value. Values will be provided as string, even though you are entering 50 here, as you are fetching this information from a text box, basically it will be a string. So it will not be recognized as an integer. So at this point I am checking the current item's value. If the item's value is not equal to empty string basically, so at least there is something provided. And you can do, of course, error checking here. I'm not going to do error checking like, if someone provides, hey, how are you to, one of the grades. So I'm not checking that. I'm assuming that if you provide something, that is a valid number. So if it is not an empty string, total percent will be increased. And we need to check this total percent plus equals grades weight, right? The one that we create, grades weight I. That's the reason I ordered the weight in an appropriate fashion. So if you are fetching the element, let's say project, it corresponds to the weight of the project here in this array, which is 25. And therefore, we can increase the percentage that you currently have. Then total grades will be increased, of course. So here there will be a calculation. Now, obviously for this, we need to check your grade. Like if you got 70 and the weight of your grade is 25, for example, we need to multiply them. So what we can do, because we are basically fetching a string as I mentioned, but we have a function called parse integer. So we are going to parse this string, which is grades dot item I, which is actually the value that we mentioned in the if section here, dot value. So we need to parse this times grades weight. Okay, I. Alright. Now this operation takes place here. So basically we are getting some sort of a total of total percent and total grades actually. So here the for loop is done. Now we have two things here. First of all, we have a result. and this result is equal to total grades divided by total percent. So now at this point, you might have weird numbers, for example, something like 91.3434, something like that. So obviously a grade will not be, represented that way, should not be at least. So we can round this number. So we can say math.round, and in parentheses we put this calculation. Okay, this will be rounded. And once we round this, we can have another variable called letter. Now we are going to determine your letter grade. So, but I will define another function for this. So at this point we can stop actually. I can comment this out. Alright. Now, we can have function calculate letter. We are going to pass something, which is the grade. That's the reason we are calculating this result initially. So, if your grade is greater or equal 90, return A. Else if grade greater or equal 80, return B. And let me copy and paste this section. B, C, D, and another one. B, C, B, C, and D. Now this is 80, this is 65, then this is 55, and we don't need to have an else if block here. We can say else, return F. So, okay. Now this is the calculate letter. Now we can just uncomment this line, and we can say letter equals to calculate letter, and we can pass result as the grade. Okay. Now at this point everything is calculated, but we have one problem. We are going to see this result. So that's the reason I actually created two paragraphs here this way. So we have the grade and letter grade. So for this I can also create another function, like, let's do that. Function change content. This is to change some HTML content. We are going to pass the ID of the content, because that's the reason I actually put two IDs here, like the current grade and the letter grade, so that I can pass an ID and change that particular content. And I'm going to pass a text that I wish, the JavaScript operation to paste into the HTML file. So now, within this, that will be just a single line actually. Document.get element by ID, and the ID is basically the ID we are passing. Dot inner HTML, which is the content actually. So inner HTML is like the things that are there between the opening and the closing tag. So inner HTML equals to text that I'm going to pass. Okay, that's it. Now at this point, in the calculate grade, we can say this, change content. Now we can call this function, pass the ID. The first ID is current grade, comma. Now we are going to pass the text, so I need to form this properly. Grade, now close the string, plus. We will pass result, plus another string I want to pass here, which is the person, sign, and that's it. And another line, which is for the letter grade. ID is letter grade, comma. Now the text, letter grade, colon, space, close string, then add letter. We have this variable already created over there. Letter. Alright. So let me see if things work fine. Yeah, it looks fine enough. So let's see what will happen now. Let's try to preview this in browser. Okay. Now if I get 100% in the first assignment, okay, my current grade is 100% and letter grade is A. Let's assume I decided not to do any of the homeworks, but I am a perfect student, so I got 100 from project, midterm and final. But you can get 72, which is, yeah, alright, I suppose. Now, you can do, you can try things here. So let's say we did all the homework perfectly and the project, but we are not good in text, based exams. So got 50 in the midterm. In the final, I was better, 85, let's say. And in this case, you will get 86. But without, this is obviously without any additional grade that you are getting, for example. So it's over 90% basically, if you realized 10% is about your performance and so on. So basically, in this situation, I mean, if this is the case, I mean, this 100s over the project is perfect, that might be, increased a little. So basically, yeah. So we have this calculator now, and therefore this concludes the first part of this JavaScript practice. So as you see, JavaScript is not difficult to code, it's extremely simple actually, and again, as I said, quite loose with the variables and so on. So therefore there will be some problems here. As I said, I mean, if I pass, I don't know what will happen. If I pass a string, yeah, as you see, not a number. We need to take care of this. We need to check if those elements are strings or not. So okay, now we can close these files. Now I'm going to create some other files here. Actually, not files. I will use the exact same CSS, but I'm going to use some new HTML file and some JavaScript file to, show you a different thing. So now I actually, again, initially went ahead and prepared something. What's happening here? iTunes is jumping. Okay, I think my phone just got upgraded to iOS 8. Alright, quit this. It was released today, so. Now, we can, again, go ahead and change the title. I can change the title. No, okay, no, let's not cheat. Okay, title here. What is the title? Basic calculator. Okay. Now we can say this is index2.html, and I can add the JavaScript files and so on again. So script, it's not script, language, JavaScript. Then what we have, type, text, JavaScript. Then we have the source. Then I will call this script2.js. Okay. Alright, tag is closed. Now we also add the same CSS file, so link, now this rel, style sheet, and type, text CSS, and the file is style.css. Okay, this is done. Now for the body, I'm going to create a table, and within this table I'm going to integrate some sort of a calculator. So in order to do this, I will create a division. Oh, I said division and I wrote division over there. Division class content. Okay. Now, this is the first one. Now, of course, not forget to close that. Alright. Now, we have the heading, basic calculator. Close the heading. Alright. So, just after this, let me see. Okay. I'm going to basically create the table with, again, use proper CSS for this, with 40% border 1, and let's say alignment centered, and background color DE, DE, DE. Okay. I want DE, DE, DE. Okay. Yeah. Okay, close table tag here. Okay. Now, let me see if something is shown there. No. Good. Okay. Now, next I need to prepare the row. So alignment is centered. Okay, table row align center. Now after this, I'm going to create basically the cells. So TD. Okay, I think I can do this, and go ahead, copy and paste the things. I need to have 4 cells each row, I think. Okay. Close the row. Okay. Alright. Now, however, I think copied and pasted a bit early, because I also set this width of the cells to 20%. So okay, let me copy and paste this. Alright. Now, for this, the text is clear, and for this it is basically equal sign. For this, division, and for this it is multiplication. Okay, but also for the first cell, the clear is a bit larger. No, I think it's not larger, it's 60% the height, so I'm indicating the entire height for the cells come in here. So this is the first row, and like this we have various other rows. So let me copy and paste this thing. Okay. Now, the others are similar, the same way basically. So rather than having clear here, we will have, for example, 7, 8, 9, and 9. Oops. 9 and minus. We will have 4, 5, 6, 6, and plus. And then we will have 1, 2, 3, and enter. 1, 2, 3, and enter. Do we have something else? Yeah, we have actually something. The number pad. Basically, I'm trying to create the number pad here. So we have two cells actually at the bottom, and rather than having for example, there's another property. Now we say height and width is this way, right? So we also have something called column span. So how many columns it will take. So column span 2. This is called 0. And there's another one, which is just dots, so point. And now, do we have others like this? Now I'm checking the design here. So enter, for example. Enter should be different, of course. Where is enter? Enter is here. So for enter, what can we do? Row span. Now, rather than using column span, we say row span 2. Okay, let's see. Alright, enter is that way. There is something wrong over there, as you see. 8 TD, okay. Okay, that is done. Alright. Now, for each one of these, the height is 60. Okay. So if I try to make this larger, because this is too small to my taste, let me just try to see this in Safari. Save the changes. Yeah, it's too small. I basically want to make this larger so the height might change. So for each table row, I didn't change the height, but basically let me just try to delete these this width information from each one of this table cell. Basically, if I delete the width information, what will happen? Okay, nothing happens, so basically I will go and arrange it with hand and I will see what I'm doing wrong. So let's see. Okay, for example, let's assume that it was like this. It's just the height, right? So 60, 60, 60, the height is set to 53, but I mean the percent, we are talking about the percent here. So if I say, for example, 100%, what happens? Nothing happens. So I need to give a number rather than percent. I need to give 60, for example. Yeah, this makes sense, because how can I give the percent of the table, basically? Okay, 60, let's say 60. Okay, now it looks nice. Now width can be, of course, percents, because now, as you see, the width is relative. So okay, now this is the calculator that we have. So after this, we can, again, the same way that we did for the previous one, we can create two new paragraphs with the IDs. Buffer and with another one, result. Okay. I think I did something wrong with that. Okay, I fixed it. Now, that's it for the HTML. Now I'm going to show you a few things here, like, for example, dealing with the multiplication. I mean, the basic way, of course. Now, first of all, we need to have the on-click property for nearly all of them, not nearly all of them, basically. For this one, for example, on-click, on-click, we're going to call calculate function, let's assume. So let me copy and paste this to all the numbers first. Click, okay. Alright. This is minus. Okay, 9875, 6, and 4 is here. 4, 1, 2, and 3, and 0. Okay. I have these, so I can create a new script for this. Now, a JavaScript file. Now, the first function is obviously, what did we call it here? It is calculate. Okay, function calculate, and we are going to pass nothing, probably we need to pass something like value, for example. Okay. Now, if that is the case, I need to pass a proper value, like I use just the empty parameter. So I'm going to pass the numbers as integers, for example, 7, 8, 9, 4, 5, 6, and 1, 2, 3, and 0. Okay, so that's done. Now I'm checking if the value is not equal to, for example, I'm just dealing with the multiplication now, so if the value is not equal to multiplication sign and it is not equal to equal sign, in this case that means, assuming that there is nothing else on the calculator, we are basically fetching the numbers. So document dot get element by ID buffer dot inner HTML plus equals value. Value is the thing that we are passing. So I'm changing the inner HTML of the buffer as well as the result. so the result should change. Now I'm going to use that for another purpose though. Result. So okay. Now this is the first step. Now let me call this script 2.js. So with this, let's try and see what happens. So with this, as you see, the buffer and the result, they are acting over there. So, okay, the first step is done. Now after this, we can say else if value equals to multiplication. Now in that case, what can we do? We can have a global variable or global variables like the value1, value2, and let's say operator buffer, for example, to keep track of the operator, either multiplication, summation, or whatever. You need to keep track of that. So in that case, once we see the multiplication operator, you can change this into any operator. Basically, we are fetching the first value that we are going to calculate. So what I'm doing now is get element by ID. Now I will get the result over there, dot inner HTML, okay. Then what I'm going to do, I will set the results inner HTML to nothing, basically empty string, equals to empty string. So that means, and now you will see the difference. So next step, document dot get element by ID buffer. So buffer will be changed as well in this situation. Buffer will be changed this way. Now we will put a space, then we will add the value. So let's see what's going to happen. Now I type something like 40. When I click on the multiplication, oops, I didn't put anything over there. Basically I don't have the onClick property for the multiplication and equals sign. So let me just put those there. So calculate, I can pass this as a string, multiplication, and then where is the equals? Here, okay. I was looking at that. Alright. Equals sign here. Alright. Is it fine? It's fine. Alright. So now let's see what we have here. Okay, let's put 70 and click the multiplication. Okay. Now it is not behaving as I intended. What happened? Now we basically changed the buffer. Okay, I said equals. I should say plus equals. Buffer will be, constantly adding the calculation. It shouldn't be just deleting it and adding the new sign. So now let's check 40 times. Okay, now result is gone, but the buffer is there. So I want to keep track of, what's happening over there. That's the idea. So then I realized one thing. After the value I can put another space. Okay. Now also let's take care of this equal sign as well here. So else, now our value, basically value 1, this is value 1, value 2, value 2 is also assigned basically the same way, because that's the reason I was emptying the result. So I just wish there to, just one number to be there so that I can directly get it. And now next thing is what's the result of the, what's the result, what the result tag will show over there, result paragraph. Now it shouldn't be empty anymore. Now we clicked an equal sign. That means we need to have some sort of a result. And therefore, we can pass the integer, because again we are storing these values. Values are stored as, let me see, we are passing the value as an integer. I think we have an integer there, so we don't need to pass something. I believe we will see value 1 times value 2. But this result is an integer. Okay, that's fine. value 1 times value 2. Okay. That's the reason for this is because I'm just dealing with the multiplication, right? There's no other possibility. You need to have checks here, basically. That's the reason perhaps we have an operator buffer. So you might wish to see which operator is buffered, then use the valid operation to take care of this. So document dot, now I can basically make the buffer empty, right, at this point. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, let's say empty. Okay, let's make the buffer completely empty. Okay. Okay, I mean, let's see what we have. So 5 times 4 equals, okay, 20. Now I can go ahead and say 5 times 4 equals to something, but obviously it's not calculating properly because probably you need to clean these up, because now it is holding value 1 and value 2, right? Whenever I clicked on another button, it continued, repeating the process, as you would have this, normal mechanical calculators, and once you keep on pressing equal sign, it will just, continuously calculate the thing. But basically, I just wanted to show you what I wish, rather than, just telling you to build me a calculator. I'm just trying to imitate a calculator here, basically. I mean, create something similar to a calculator. So you might have something like this, and the HTML code is here, as you saw. So implement the functionality for the calculator. This is what I'm wishing. I will put the due date. The due date, let me see. Now today is tomorrow. I mean, you will have the online lecture, so it's Thursday. Now I will ask you to turn this in by October 2nd. So you will have 2 weeks for this. And again, as I said, on Tuesday I will cover some sort of an XML data operation, and therefore we will complete this JavaScript and XML practice, and then we will have the review, so for the midterm basically. And after this we will start from scratch and proceed with ASP.NET and C#. So hope these videos are useful for you, and basically take care.